Hi everyone, my name is Rosa Espinoza Britton, and today I am going to talk to you guys about, I guess, what I went through with my baby, having him during the pandemic and everything. So, anyway, so I'm just gonna go right into the video. Sorry. So we recently, I shouldn't say recently. Sorry about that. We moved here to Lincoln, Nebraska, from Colorado, Greeley, Colorado, I should say. So we moved from Greeley, Colorado, to Lincoln, Nebraska, because this was during the pandemic, and during the pandemic, I was pregnant with my son, Liam Carter. So he weighed at 7 pounds and 1 ounce when he was born. And anyway, okay, so I'm gonna backtrack here. So we were living in Greeley, Colorado, and I was pregnant, and my water broke. At the time, I was working too, mind you. I was working at a hospital called McKee in Loveland, Colorado. So I was working at the time while I was pregnant with my son. So on Friday, this would have been a few days before May 24th. So on Friday, my water broke, and I was rushed to the hospital. My husband and I, we went to the hospital, and I got through the ER and everything, and they took me back there, and they took my blood pressure, and they just kind of monitored me to see if anything was going on. And the nurse took some blood samples, and of course, this one nurse, she kept poking and poking me, and it was so painful. I literally started crying because she just could not get it in the vein, right? And I was just literally ready to scream at her. I finally did, actually. I finally told her, I go, can you please stop? Just stop poking me. I can't do this anymore. So finally we got a new nurse, and if I can remember correctly, she found the vein and she got in right away, and it was fast. It was good. And then after that, I found out later that, right after that, we found out that I was diagnosed with preeclampsia. So, yeah. So, preeclampsia, I had a high blood pressure, which was funny because that Friday, I had a doctor's appointment, and my blood pressure was perfectly normal. And then this one, honestly, I can't remember how high my blood pressure was at that time when I went to the emergency room. And so they ended up bed resting me through the whole delivery part. So I was going to walk to the room. That's why I asked them. I said, hey, I can just walk to the room. And they're like, no, you can't, because you're diagnosed with preeclampsia. So I was like, oh, okay, fine, I guess. So that was that, I guess. So I had to be wheeled into a wheelchair, and then they put me on bed rest for the rest of the delivery. And I ended up having a catheter in me. So that was not the best. That was just horrible. I was like, oh my goodness, this is not right. So anyway, going on. And so I got to be on bed rest, and I ended up getting an epidural because I couldn't stand the contractions. They were too much. So I ended up getting an epidural, and it started working, and so then I couldn't feel the contractions, which was fine, and it was going good so far. But then they also were pumping me with all these drugs at the same time. So after a while, I started to feel the drugs, and I was kind of going in and out of during my contractions because I was so drugged up during this whole process. So obviously, moms who have been had C-sections or gone through labor, or even just went through all that, know what it's like. So you moms, you know who I'm talking to out there. So anyway, So, sorry, I know I should not be laughing at this. I'm sorry, but it's kind of funny now that I think about it. Anyway, yeah, so I got diagnosed with preeclampsia. I ended up getting an epidural, and then the epidural stopped working all of a sudden. So then I started to feel the contractions, and I screamed bloody murder at the top of my head because I was like, oh my God, this is not right. This isn't supposed to be happening. This is not how it's supposed to feel. So then they put another epidural in the back of my spine, and that did not take at all. And they were giving me the highest dosage they could give me, and it was not working because I literally was screaming at the top of my head saying, can someone please just get this baby out of me? Because I literally was in so much pain. It was bad. And so it was just, all I was on, what was it? All they could give me was fluids. That's it. I couldn't even eat anything because I tried. All I could have was like I said, juice, broth, and like clear liquids. And I ended up getting also, I also could get Jello, but honestly, I just wasn't in the mood for Jello for some reason. I just wanted like popsicles. That was it. Because of the magnesium and everything they were pumping me and all this stuff, I literally ended up throwing up constantly. Sorry for you guys, was TMI here, guys. Sorry if I'm getting a bit too detailed. So yeah, I ended up throwing up all this yellow stuff and nothing was staying in. I was tired. I was exhausted just from trying to push, and then the epidural not working right. And it was just one hot mess after another. And let me tell you, my husband was a trooper. He just hung in there with me, helped me, just was a whole, he didn't really hold my hand that much, but he somewhat did, if I can remember correctly. But anyway, and all I remember was, not all I remember, but somewhat of what can I remember of, was that I could tell that he was worried, and I was just, because I wasn't responding too much, and I was just sleeping a lot, and Friday turned into Saturday, and Saturday turned into Sunday, and I was just like, I had no memory of what day it was after a while because I was so tired, so drugged up, like I said before. So anyway, I ended up getting an emergency C-section by Sunday because I could not push, because I was only dilating by 5 centimeters, and that was not enough for me to push that baby out of me. So they ended up telling me, they're like, you need to go into an emergency C-section now. So I did. I ended up going on Sunday, and like I said, I was drugged up again, and I did not recall any of it until finally I got woken up, and the doctor's like, it's a boy. And I was like, woohoo. Well, I wasn't woohoo, but I'm happy it's a boy, really, honestly. You boy moms, you know what I mean. So anyway, yes, so I ended up having the little one, Liam Carter Britton. That is his whole name, but we like to call him Liam Carter. So, and I will have to bring him in the video sometime, but not this video. So anyway, right now he's actually sleeping. It's his nap time. So anyway, so back to the story. So he was born, and I was, I could not hold my baby after he was born. My husband ended up holding him, and they did skin to skin together because I was so tired after giving birth through C-section. So I ended up sleeping for most of the day, and then he ended up taking over and taking care of him and doing skin to skin with him a lot. And it was just like, it was good that they did that. I was happy they did skin to skin with each other. So it was good for both of them. And it seemed to help them bond and everything. So then so that was Sunday. And then we did not leave the hospital till Wednesday because of my high blood pressure and everything. The doctors and nurses wanted to make sure that my blood pressure was going down until my blood pressure was normal. I can finally be released from the hospital. So, which was really hard for me to do because it was just, I didn't like being there after a while. I wanted to go back and head home and just spend time with my little one. Because honestly, they kept poking me and prodding me and kept giving me these drugs in me, and it was like throughout all the night. So then I couldn't get any sleep at the hospital, honestly. And I know they told me, they're like, it's not like this, honestly. Once you go home, you won't have someone poking you and prodding you, and you'll be able to get some sleep with your newborn. But of course, he was what? He was a newborn, and we honestly, he's our first one right now, and I guess my experience was that since he was a pandemic baby, it was hard for me, honestly. It really was. It was hard because I'm a new mom. I don't know what's going on. And it was like, okay, here you go. And then finally by Wednesday, like I said, we finally got released from the hospital, and I was really happy. And my parents were at my house during this time, and they were just waiting to meet their first grandson, which he was, like I said, my first one. And it was just a relief to finally head home. I was happy to be home. And then a few days later, we found out that my husband lost his job for BNSF, for a rapid responder, and we had to end up kind of relocating to Lincoln, Nebraska, and that is where we currently are now, in an apartment. And let me tell you, it is hard to go from a house to an apartment. And yeah, sorry about that. That was my dog, if you could hear him in the background. So yeah, let me tell you, it was really hard to go from my house to an apartment after that. So, and during all this time, we ended up had to pack, and we ended up packing the house, and I was still trying to recover from a C-section, mind you, during this time. So it wasn't the easiest trying to take care of a newborn and trying to recover from a C-section and trying to pack at the same time. It was hard, and it was so stressful. So anyway, so yeah, so that is kind of like, I don't know if I should say this is kind of like my experience, but for now, this is what I went through with him. And now that he is already 1 year old, if you can believe that or not, I know it's crazy, but he's already 1 year old. And honestly, I would not trade that experience for the world, because when he gets older, it'll be a good story for us to tell him how he was born during a pandemic, and how it was just hard on all of us. So so that is it for me right now, guys. And like I said, this is a video I'm doing. I am a new YouTuber, and I am trying my hardest. I don't know exactly what I'm doing right now, but I am gonna just keep trying to connect with my audience and see what happens. So, and if you could hit like and subscribe for this video, that would be lovely. So, all right, and with that, I will close, and I will say bye, guys, and you guys have a lovely day. Bye.